Hi, good morning. Welcome to all the cricket lovers. This is Crick Vidu of Daily Dose. We have a very special guest today. He's none other than Dav Whatmore. He's the champion coach of Sri Lankan 1996 World Cup winning team. So I'm so privileged to have a chat with you.
2, 3, 4.
Especially, I would like to first ask, what is the correct pronunciation of your name?
Well, my name, my full name is Davenal Frederick Whatmore. My father was a Davenal, he was a Davenal Clifford. My son's also Davenal, so it's Davenal. But if anybody wants to shorten it, please don't say Dav, it's Dav, it's Dav.
In my childhood, I read most of newspapers are telling it's Dav. That's why I asked you.
It's easy for people to know. They haven't heard of Dav. It's the Dave without the E, but that's okay. I answer to many things.
Okay, Dav. So you born in here, Sri Lanka.
Yep.
You born in here, Sri Lanka, and went to the Royal College. Tell us about something of your childhood in Sri Lanka.
Well, I was 8 years of age when I migrated from Sri Lanka to Australia, along with hundreds of thousands of families, I might add. So really, it was a young age, but I did go to Royal Primary School. I had some very fond memories in that 8 years, living in Valavatta Station Road. Had some really good neighbours, 3 or 4 boys next door neighbours, so we had plenty of hours playing with a cricket bat and a tennis ball. And school and catching a bus and the food, it was all good memories.
Okay, then you migrated to Australia and after that playing to Australian national team. So how about that memories?
Yeah, look, it was not an easy pathway, but the cricket in Australia is a lot more defined in those days, the pathway. And it's all club based, so it was a matter of playing for a club right, in the junior levels, at the under 14 level, and then progress to that club senior, and then from there you can move on to a very senior club team in Melbourne. If you do well there, then you get selected for a second 11 first class team. If you do well there, then you play Sheffield Shield cricket, and if you do well there, then you get selected for Australia. And I was fortunate enough to play 7 test matches.
Yeah, you played 7 test matches, and according to my knowledge, you had some 6,000 first class runs.
Yes, it was a lot of years to get that. I should have got a bit more, to be honest with you.
So how did you become the coach?
Well, I always enjoyed the game. I always enjoyed even helping other players when I played, and I felt that if there was an opportunity to continue to remain in the game, other than a player, then I was always going to take it. So I was very fortunate enough to begin my coaching career with Frank Tyson, the late Frank Tyson, who was working for the Victorian Cricket Association, the association that ran Sheffield Shield cricket for Victoria. And that's how it all started. It was wonderful to work with him, and it progressed to an academy, a state academy, and from there I moved abroad and started working internationally and with Sri Lanka more specifically.
In the 90s, no one believes Sri Lanka can win a World Cup, but you came to Sri Lanka as a coach. How did you see the Sri Lanka cricket, and what was your thought about that?
Yeah, I didn't have too much knowledge about the Sri Lankan team at the time, but I knew that they were good. They were engaged in a series against New Zealand, and they'd won their first Test match just before I took over. So it was good that the team was progressing nicely. And when I came over, it I guess enhanced it. I'm not saying it did any harm. We gelled, in other words, and it was a good marriage, and we managed to continue on and get our fair share of wins, whether it was a bilateral series in Pakistan, where we won 2 tests to 1, and also the one-day series of 2 one-days to 1, we won that one. When we went to Sharjah for the Cricketers Benefit Fund and the series of games, beat West Indies in the final. So it was a good start, But then Australia came, we got hammered in Australia, and then the World Cup where we turned it all around.
Then most of people talking about Samath Jayasuriya and Romesh Kalavitan, it was a strategic movement to become openers.
Yes, the aggressive at the top.
What was the plan, and how do you apply?
Well, the idea, I've had a lot of people, they all ask me the same question, whose idea was it? And there's only one person who had that idea in my recollection, that was Dula Mendes. Dula came up to me one day in that World Series in Australia in 1995-96 and said to me, how if we open with Kalu, in those exact words. And it was just like a light going on in a dark room. It just resonated with me immediately. And I knew that a batsman like Kalu, who was batting at number 7, sometimes at 8, he was one of the most sweetest strikers of the ball. Hit the ball in the air, hit the ball on the ground, front foot, back foot, square of the wicket. He was very good. But because there were fielders in the outfield, when he came into bat, he would invariably get caught. Now you put him at the top where there's only 2 fielders out of the 30-yard circle for the first 15 overs. Then it was going to be very interesting. In the first 2 games, he won man of the matches. So it was really good to begin to see Sanath and Ramesh come together and become destructive.
So is that the turning point of your coaching, like the winning World Cup in 1996?
Well, obviously it rates pretty highly. Any coach will tell you that. But there's been many other memorable, victories, serious victories, particular games. But that would remain obviously, one of the highlights for sure.
Then you have coached Pakistan and Bangladesh, like many more Asian countries. So how do you engage with them, especially in Asians?
Well, they're similar. A lot of these boys on the subcontinent, they may speak a different language. The food may vary from country to country, but they are very similar in their outlook. They're all interested to get ahead of their cricket, they're interested to learn, and by and large they work pretty hard. The language, as I said, changes, and my inability to speak Urdu or Bengali, Sinhalese sometimes, but they can feel my approach, and it's always been a positive one, Most of the time they receive the information well, sometimes to give the information back was a bit hard.
You worked with most of associate countries. The ICC used you as a specialist coach to develop the cricketing, associate countries cricketing.
Well, ICC didn't do that. I mean, I was out of my own initiative together with my manager. I had a stint with Nepal, had a stint with Singapore. But had a little bit of interaction with Netherlands because I came to an academy I was working with in India. But yeah, it wasn't an ICC initiative. It was the way it worked out for doing some extra work.
So you developed Sri Lanka cricket. How a younger player stick with cricket, and how they manage their mindsets to develop their cricket?
I'm not sure if that's a huge area that everyone's interested in. I try and keep it as simple as I can. Cricket and performance is made up of technical ability, and it's definitely made up of your mental approach, the strength that you have when you're playing competition. So the the technical side, pretty much the Sri Lankan boys are good at. They have a good school upbringing where there's a lot of good coaches, and that side of things are looked after pretty well. Maybe just a little bit of feedback from time to time. The area where they really do, and most of the subcontinent boys need, is the confidence. The confidence to go out to the medal as a batsman and be comfortable in that high level of competition. Any new team I coached internationally, the one question I ask, how can I help you get better? And invariably they'd come back and say, give me confidence.
Nowadays, T10 cricket, T20 cricket, short format is most popular. How do you see this for the future of cricket?
It's an evolution, isn't it? I mean, that's the sign of the times. We cannot play and exist in the past. Lots of things in life are evolving. And look at the technology side, the digital side. And cricket's one of those things that are evolving, whether we like it or not. It's attracted a different audience, a format of cricket that is very exciting. Some of the athleticism you've seen in T20 cricket and T10 cricket, it just defies logic, the way they throw their bodies and, the fielding especially. The batting is incredibly come on, these ramp shots and reverse sweeps, bowling with the slower bounces and the wide Yorkers, and all these things have been wonderful. But because, historically cricket has revolved around the longer version of the game, the test matches, first-class games. With the advent of the shorter version, the limited overs, has prompted many to say, well, we need to protect the sanctity of Test cricket, when we do. But there needs to be a very close examination of how we do this, because clearly the way forward is, the short formats, and it's even coming into the Olympic Games now.
Nowadays, you joined with Dhammika Prasad and started new coaching program in Sri Lanka. Tell us something about that.
Yeah, together with Alex Nishantha, who was an ex-employee of Sri Lanka cricket, Dhammika Prasad, and he's a very well-known name here in the island, in cricket, Sri Lanka cricket, and a very good player, I have to say. Probably could have played a lot more too if it wasn't for his injuries. They've got together and come up with a wonderful idea of teaching a holistic approach in the island, all over the island, not just in here in Colombo. The technical side of things, a little bit of mental stuff, and other components that go to make up the complete person, the person who plays cricket. So the Dhammika Prasad Cricket School is a wonderful idea, and I'm very pleased to be able to support that. Whenever I'm available, I'm there to help. And I look forward to it very much, yeah.
I think in this course, they are touching how to address the media, how to behave, about food and nutrition, how they are important to the player.
Especially how to talk to the media. You've got to be very careful what you say these days, because everyone in the media is looking for that scoop, looking for that something different. So you've got to be very careful how you conduct yourself, and more too. If you are lucky enough to make it to the top, there's lots of microphones shoved in front of your face, a lot of cameras. So if you have some sort of idea of how to handle it, then that'll hold you in good stead. And this is what the Western countries have done so well. They've covered all these areas pretty well, and the subcontinent countries are beginning to do that now.
Okay, thank you, Dav, to sharing your valuable thoughts with us. Guys, keep in touch with Crick Vidu. Every day morning, you can take our daily dose. Goodbye.
And good luck.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.